This is Algebra 1, Spring Test number 1 study guide. This is part 2, picking up with number 17. Tells you to graph the equation. We're graphing this in two variables, so we're graphing it on a plane, not just x equals 1, where we're putting it like we've been doing on one variable inequalities. We're doing it this way. We're graphing, if this is your x-axis, it's crossing through the x-axis at 1. So we're making ourselves a vertical line like so at x equals 1. That's what we mean by graphing x equals 1. Vertical line. Had it said y equals something, you'd have made a horizontal line. Number 18 says write an algebraic expression for the phrase 7 times the sum of w and a. Sum means plus. So w plus a. And it says 7 times that. We know that means to multiply 7 times that. But it doesn't matter if we put 7 here or if we put 7 here. Order of operations tells you to do multiplication before you do addition. The only way to get w to add to a first before you multiply by 7 is to put a parenthesis around w plus a. Now that's summing w and a, and then you multiply it times 7. This is the simplest way to write it up front. 7 times w plus a. 19 says to evaluate ab squared when a is 4 and b is 5. So the first thing you want to do is substitute in place of a, you want to substitute 4. It's right next to b, so in place of b, you want to substitute 5. So 4 is right next to 5, which means you're going to multiply those two since they're in parentheses before you square it. 4 times 5 gives you the number 20. And then 20 is squared, which means 20 times 20. You know the number 2 times 2 is 4. And since it's 20 times 20, we're going to add 2 zeros and make that 400. Number 20 says negative 6 divided by negative 2. A negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And we're solving these equations, multiple step equations. Number 21, 3/5 x minus 9 is equal to negative 3. We want to undo order of operations backwards. Undo minus 9 first by adding it. If you do it there, do it here. Negative 3 plus 9, you're starting on the left side of 0. You're moving 9 times to the right. So it takes you 3 to get to 0. And then 6 more is you're going to go to get to 9. So that negative 3 plus 9 is 6. We still have 3/5 right next to x, which means times x. So you undo 3/5 times something by dividing. You undo multiplication by dividing. Remember, dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So we would have to multiply by the reciprocal anyways. So instead of writing out divide by 3/5 and then changing it to multiply by the reciprocal, you can do it from the beginning. You multiply by 5/3 on the left, you do likewise on the right. Everything you multiply is over 1. You can cross cancel this to deal with smaller numbers. 3 goes into itself 1 time and into 6 twice. So the left side cancels out and leaves you with x. The bottoms cancel out, be over 1. 2 times 5 will be 10. Again, 1 times 1 would be over 1. You could simply leave it like that. X is equal to 10. For number 22, before you try to undo anything like we did on number 21 right away, you have to simplify the left side. You have to multiply 2 times y. You have to distribute it. It's 2y, and 2 times 6 is plus 12 equals 24. Now, we can't combine 2y and 12 because they are not like terms. So now it's time to start undoing things and undo your order of operations backwards. Undo plus 12, just like we undid minus 9 on 21 by subtracting 12. You do it there, do it here. 24 minus 12 we know is 12 equals, we still have 2y on the left. Undo 2 times something by dividing by 2. If you do it to the left, do likewise to the right. Y is left by itself equals 12 divided by 2 is 6. 2x minus 7 equals 3x minus 4. For number 23, you have variables on both sides. When we do inequalities, you want to always bring your variables to the left. It makes graphing much easier. But originally, we learned you always put the smaller variable over with the larger variable. 2x is the smaller one. So if we wanted to bring that over to the 3x side, it's positive 2x, which means plus 2x. subtract 2x. If you do it there, do it here. 3x minus 2x is 1x. You still have minus 4 right there, and you still have negative 7 on the other side. Since you brought your x's to the right, it doesn't do us any good to bring the negative 7 over to the same side. Let's bring the negative 4 to the opposite side. Negative 4 is the same thing as minus 4. Undo that by adding 4. If you do it to the right, you need to do it to the left. Negative 7 plus 4. Think of where your number line is. You begin at negative 7 on the left. You move 4 times to the right. You don't quite get back to the 0. So you still have negative 3 on that side. Equals x, and then the other negative 4 plus 4 will cancel itself out. X equals negative 3. Number 24 is finding the slope. None of your points are highlighted for you. So you need to find two good intersections that you can use to count your rise over your run. This looks like a good intersection, this one right here, the y-intercept. Okay, remember, this would be considered not a good intersection because although you can find out its x value is 1, you'd have to guess at what its y value is. So you want to find another one that's going through an intersection. The next one I see that stands out to me is this one here. You could have used one that's in a similar position on the other side, but these two right here will be fine. Remember, you're finding the slope. Slope is rise over run. How many times you're going to go up or down over how many times you're going to go left or right. So if you start here, count how many times you're going to go down. 1, 2, 3. Down 3. We went down 3, which means negative 3. And then count how many times you're going to go to the right in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We went to the right. Our positive numbers are to the right, so it's positive 4. So our slope, just make sure you're simplified at that point. There's no numbers that go into both 3 and 4. Our slope in this case, m, equals negative 3/4. (25) tells you to find the slope given 2 points. Your slope formula is the change of y sub 2, minus, since it's talking about how they're different, the change, y sub 1, over the change of x sub 2, minus, since you're talking about the difference, x sub 1. If you need to label each one of these, then do that. This one's x and this one's y. This one's x and this one's y. It's alphabetical. This is 0.1, so that'll be sub 1. This is 0.2. This is not, you don't have to do all of these steps if you feel comfortable finding the slope much quicker. This is the first way we learned how to do it. The first number it asks you for, we don't know what m is. Y sub 2, we have a value for that, 0. Minus, the next one is y sub 1. That's this one here, 4. Over the next one, x sub 2, that's this one, 9. Minus x sub 1 is 1. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4, and 9 minus 1 is 8. Okay, this was like I told you a minute ago, make sure it's simplified. This is not. The number 4 goes into both of these. The number 4 goes into negative 4, negative 1 time, and it goes into 8 2 times. So your slope in this case is negative 1/2. 26 says find the slope and y-intercept. It's nice and neat. It is in slope-intercept form for us. Y equals mx plus b. It's already in that form. You can see it very easily. Your slope then, we know is our m value. Our slope is 6/5. Your y-intercept, we know that as our b value. Your y-intercept is positive 2. Make sure you don't make a mistake tomorrow on the test. If that said 6/5x minus 2, make sure you don't put plus or positive 2 for the y-intercept. It's the sign that goes with it. In this case, it happens to be positive because it says plus. But if it said minus, it would be negative 2. Write an equation with the given slope and y-intercept, what gives us a slope and a y-intercept. So write it in y equals mx plus b form. So y equals something times x plus something. We're going to plug in m. It's already given to us, nice and neat right here. We're going to plug that in place of m, negative 2/3 x plus b, that's nice and neatly given to us right here, in place of the y-intercept, minus 2. Negative 2/3 x minus 2. Number 28 says write the slope-intercept form of the equation. We need a slope and we need a y-intercept, a b. Okay. We can see what our b value is. It's where it crosses through right there. That b value is at -1. Check and make sure that your scale is counting by 1 and not by something different, like 2 or 10. Then find the slope, just like we did just a few problems ago. There's 2 points that are already highlighted for you, this one and this one. Use those. Okay. So count how many times I have to go up. 1 time, 2, 3, 4 times. Up 4 is positive 4. Count how many times I got to go right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. To the right, 8 times is positive 8. Again, simplify that. 4 goes into itself once and into 8 2 times. So your slope is 1/2. We're writing slope-intercept form. So just like this problem, now we have an m and a b. We're going to plug the values in. Y equals mx plus b. Our m value, we're going to plug it in nice and neat right here. It's positive 1/2. And our b value, we'll plug in b in the next slot right here. It's -1 or -1. Y equals 1/2 x minus 1.